chapter 2, starting at verse 4, going through verse 11. Paul's writing here, "For I wrote you out of great distress and anguish of heart, and with many tears, not to grieve you, but to let you know the depth of my love for you. If anyone has caused grief, he has not so much grieved me as he has grieved all of you, to some extent, not to put it too severely. The punishment inflicted on him by the majority is sufficient for him. Now instead, you ought to forgive and comfort him, so that he will not be overwhelmed by excessive sorrow. I urge you, therefore, to reaffirm your love for him. The reason I wrote you was to see if you would stand the test and be obedient in everything. If you forgive anyone, I also forgive him. And what I have forgiven, if there was anything to forgive, I have forgiven in the sight of Christ for your sake, in order that Satan might not outwit us. For we are not aware of Satan's schemes." May God add his blessing to the reading of 2 Corinthians today. Does this describe you or me? I think it might describe me at times. See if it describes you. I want to be right. I want to be in charge. I want to manipulate the situation. I want to be in control. Am I alone? I want to be the boss. I want to be the man. I want to be the woman. Maybe some of you are thinking, how did he know? Well, there's a thought pattern there that is at the root of many of our problems. We want control. And many of us feel capable. I can be in control. I can be in charge. I am capable of manipulating the situation exactly the way it ought to be. And then we walk under the shadow of the cross. And we find that we have the greatest servant of all. And as odd as it is, we want to be like him. So we get into this huge conflict. I want to be a servant like him. I want to be in control. I want to be a servant like him. I want to manipulate the situation. I want to be a servant like him. I want to be the boss. Angst comes inside us. We want to be the believing, passionate Christian person. I'll show you how to control that. That's where we are. And when we think of the cross, we think servant, but we have this great angst of that. So we look at when we look at the cross, we've got these two relationships going on. We've got the vertical relationship, you, me, and God. And then we have that horizontal relationship, me and you, each other. If we recognize the vertical part, that the power of all that we do, the gifts, the talents, the energy that we have, if we recognize and acknowledge that all comes from God. That the energy that I have, the gifts or talents that I have, that you have, they all come from God. Thank you, God, for that. He gives us grace. He gives us energy. And so when we recognize that, we give him the praise. We praise God for that. I praise God for what he allows me to do. I praise God for what impact I can have. You praise God for the impact you've had on your children, your friends, people in your believing community. You praise him for that. And so you give him credit. You give credit to the Holy Spirit for the work that he does in each one of our lives. But the horizontal relationship's a bit different. There's a quote that says, "To dwell with the saints we love, oh, that'll be glory. But to live with the saints we know, that's another story." The problem here is that horizontal part of the relationships. Because that becomes the greatest test of our servanthood. My battles aren't with God. My battles are with you. Our battles are with our neighbors, our friends, those we come into contact with, the person that we treat badly in Publix or in Target. But when we think of the horizontal relationship, Last week we learned we are to see the horizontal relationship as give, forgive, forget. Give, forgive, forget. John Shepherd coached me on this. Don't judge his teaching by the way I say this. But there is a building in France that has a statue of Napoleon in front of it. And the name of the building is Le Hôtel des Invalides. Pretty good? Pretty good for a novice, John. That's the name of it. John can say it better. And he's seen it. He and Jane have been there. Maybe some of you have too. But there's a statue of Napoleon in front of it. And the statue is much bigger than Napoleon actually was. But it shows him with his hand in his coat. And the humanist look on Napoleon's face is, I did this. I did that. And we don't want to look like Napoleon. Because what we want to look like as believers, even if we have our hand in our coat, would be, God did this. God did that. We want to give God all of the praise. And so we see here in 2 Corinthians, Paul is emotional. He's in great distress. And he's writing to a community that he helped start a church in Corinth. So he has distress, anguish of heart, tears even, when he's writing this to them. He tells them how much he loves them. And if anyone has caused grief, he has not so much grieved me as he's grieved all of you to some extent. The punishment, remember this verse? The punishment inflicted on him by the majority is sufficient. So now, if you're reading that, you have to ask the question, who is him? Who is him that the majority has inflicted punishment on? Who is him? Well, him, you have to go back 12 months earlier to the first letter of the Corinthians, chapter 5. And what he's talking about is, in the church, it is actually reported that there is sexual immorality among you, and of a kind that does not even occur among the pagans. A man has his father's wife, and you are proud. Shouldn't you rather have been filled with grief and have put out of your fellowship the man who did this? So clearly, there's some incestual relationship going on in the church, and Paul is grieved over that. But he gets to verse 7. And verse 7 says, because they did put him out, the fellow asked for forgiveness. And Paul said, now instead you ought to forgive him and comfort him. But what did they do? They continue to punish him. Now, think about it. Somebody in your life. Have you ever had a friend or an acquaintance, fellow church member, who did something wrong? And instead of forgiving them, you kept punishing them. You know, I think I need to treat them bad just a little bit longer. Chuck Justice is another 3 weeks. Not going to forgive him yet. That would be too much. That would make him feel like he didn't even do anything wrong. Got anybody in mind? Know anybody that maybe you haven't forgiven? So this fellow did a terrible act. They pushed him out of the church. And then he wanted forgiveness. He stopped doing that. And so Paul is saying, forgive him. Don't punish him any longer. Lay off. Give him a break. Forgive him. Because he says, sufficient punishment has happened. Now turn the page. Forgive him. Invite him back. Love him. Care for him. When somebody offends you, you need to forgive them. When they ask for forgiveness, you need to forgive them. Not punish them more. And we can forgive. We are capable of forgiveness, as hard as it is, as difficult it is. We are capable. Why? Because God helps us do that. God makes us capable. So we have Jesus as our model. We try to be more like him. We know that Jesus could have come in a way that would have, maybe Jews would have followed him even in greater numbers if he'd have come a different way, but he came to a poor young girl in her early teens under questionable circumstances whose place of birth was infamous. His lifestyle was mocked. They spit on him, and put him to death, and even his death was misunderstood. But in last week's sermon, he came not to be served, but to serve. So Jesus, now we have this sort of in order. Jesus is teaching in Matthew 5:23. And he's talking to them about something they really understand. They understand sacrifice to talk to God. Been buying animals for years. I take them to the priest. He sacrifices the animal, gives me audience closer to God. So in Matthew 5, therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to your brother, then come and offer your gift. Jesus spoke to them in a way they understood. They understood blood sacrifice. They understood that Levites would come and go and come and go, and they would continue to take their animals to the temple and continue to have them sacrificed. But Jesus is talking about when you get that feeling, when you come to the altar, you think, I think I might have offended her. I think I might have offended him. I think I may have something to talk to them about. I think I need to, they asked for forgiveness and I didn't. There's something that tells me, wait a minute, something is wrong. There you remember that you have a brother or sister that you need to go and talk to. Leave your gift at the altar and go and be reconciled. Maybe you've hurt someone. Maybe you need to go make something right with someone. Then come back here and let's finish up. Let's then worship. Because if you do it that way, if you cleanse yourself by going to somebody, it makes worship real, meaningful, clean, and right. So that's what he's saying to the Corinthians here. Take him back. Forgive him. Stop punishing him. Now this talk this morning is the first of two on forgiving like a servant. Forgiving like a servant. So let's look at some what-ifs. What if he or she refuses to forgive me? Pastor, I wanted to forgive him, but I wanted to be forgiven, they won't forgive me. Well, we have to look at the Greek word for reconcile there. It means to alter or change. But there's a prefix on it that says you must go through something. You must go through a change is the literal meaning of the word. So you're trying to build a relationship bridge to get this forgiveness. Realizing it's difficult to even get the courage to do that. And we know that some situations even worsen when we do that. We go to a proverb. Proverbs 16:7 says, when the Lord takes pleasure in anyone's way, he causes their enemies to make peace with them. Recognizing you have no control over how the person will react. But God can stir in their heart a way that peace will come. It may not be immediate. It may take time. But you're doing the right thing by going. The proverb does not use the word immediately anywhere in it. But we're promised. God holds us responsible for making things right, at least for going to the person. But we're not responsible for their reaction or what action they take. We're only responsible for what we do. Now we know some people that we would go to are unhealthy. They're just not mentally ready. They're not in a situation maybe to forgive. They're not in a situation where they even want to talk about it. That's true. But that doesn't mean you can't go to them and then let God take it from them. How about the situation that you do go and things get worse? Why is that happening? I'm trying to do the right thing, Lord, and I went to. Now they treat me mean or no. They talk behind my back even more. I should never have gone to them. No. You have to take away somebody that's blaming you. You have to take that away from them by being vulnerable. Saying, I'm sorry. Saying, please forgive me. Making yourself vulnerable. Because they can no longer blame you then when you've made yourself vulnerable. They can act in a different way, but they can't blame you any longer because you have gone to them and you tried to make things right. All they're left with is their own guilt. And they can deal with it on their own. And they can deal with the God if they are a believer. We have an example of that, Saul and David. Remember, David snuck into Saul's tent and cut his robe. And he came back to his own tent where he was cheered. Great, way to go. Way to go, David. You took care of him. Because he could have actually killed Saul. He got that close to him. But then David felt kind of bad. That he really probably shouldn't have done it. He disrespected the king. So because he was overwhelmed with that guilt, he went back to Saul and asked for forgiveness. And Saul gave it to him. But what? Things got worse for David. Saul forgave him, but then chased him for another 15 years. And actually Saul died being offended. So we don't always know that things will get better. How about the third way? What if I just take it to God? Instead of, Pastor, do I actually have to go to the person? Why don't I just take it to God? Well, how about this example? Don Nixon has a really nice car out here. Nice red car. It's got Dale Earnhardt's number, I think, on it. Really nice. Keeps it perfect. And I take my Demolition Derby pickup truck and I slam into the side of it. And I don't see Don, but Don sees me. Because Don's here talking. And so I get out and I assess the damage. And then I pray, Lord, please forgive me for my negligence in driving. Then I write Don a note. Don, I hit your car. God forgave me. Blessings, Pastor. Now, I've taken it to God. I mean, that's good, right? I didn't offend God. I offended Don. I have to go to Don and make it right. I think Don's probably going to come see me. I won't have to go to him. But it's between Don and I. I can't just pray to God. Okay, how about this one? I borrow $500 from George Sherrill. George, give me $500? Sure. Thanks. Pay back in 3 months. Okay. 91st day, George says, how you doing, Pastor Chuck? I'm doing great. You know, everything I have belongs to God. I don't have the money, but, you know, I think God may take care of you. Thank you. But, you know, God says, we're good. I've asked him, and he said, you know, yeah, you're right, Chuck. It all belongs to me. George might have his hand in my pocket taking a partial payment. Because I have offended George here, not God. So when we do something that's offensive, we have to go to the individual. Not just to God. That's why a lot of times we'll say, well, you know, I went to God and I asked him to take care of it for me. God's saying, you got to leave here. It doesn't say, if you've offended, go to the Lord. It says, if you have offended, go to your brother. Leave or back. I want you to hear this in a way that I mean. If you've wounded anybody, if you've caused foot to go astray, if I've walked in my own willful way, dear Lord, forgive me. Do you think that's good? If I've wounded any soul today, if I've caused one foot to go astray, if I've walked in my own willful way, dear Lord, forgive me. That has been described as trash theology. The reason for that is, if I've wounded a soul today, I better go to them and make it right. If I've caused somebody to go astray, I better go to them and make it right. That's the theology of the Bible. Not wounding people and causing people to go astray and then go to God. And some of you have wounded your children. Some of your children have wounded you. Some of you have wounded each other. Because we live in a world of toxic resentment. It's on all continents. Not just here, not just in Florida, it's everywhere. And pride says, you know, they'll just have to live with it. But a servant says, I can't live with it any longer. Anna Russell kind of wrote a funny folk song that I wanted to read here. I went to my psychiatrist to be psychoanalyzed to find out why I killed the cat and blackened my husband's eyes. He laid me on the downy couch to see what he could find, so this is what he dredged up from my subconscious mind. When I was one, my mommy hid my dolly in a trunk, and so it follows naturally, that's why I'm always drunk. When I was 2, I saw my father kiss the maid one day, and that's why I suffer now from kleptomania. At 3, I had the feeling of ambivalence toward my brothers, and so it follows naturally, I poisoned all my lovers. But I'm happy now I've learned the lesson this has taught. that everything I do that's wrong is someone else's fault. We seem to suffer from a lot of that, don't we? Where we figure out why somebody, I was raised in a family and they just, my dad that made me, my mother made me. Rhonda's our children now are all above 18. So they are confronting some of those things that they sometimes say, it's because you... That doesn't work here. You're an adult now. Make the right decision. If you just close your eyes for a minute, or at least think of this with me. There are pictures in our minds. I told the Bible study group I try to burn memories. The good ones. The unfortunate thing is there are some bad ones burned in my memory as well. Some of you may have some memories from the 40s or 50s, the 60s or 70s, the 80s or 90s, maybe some here in the 21st century. In your mind you have a gallery of pictures. And some of those pictures are in color. Some of those pictures are in black and white. Do you see the pictures? Some of the pictures are not pretty. In fact, some of the pictures are downright ugly. Do you see them? Walk down your gallery, the hallways of your gallery. Peek into the rooms of your gallery. See some of the ugliness for the last time. Destroy the ugliness. Make things right with those that you need to in those pictures. If you have people that have been harmed or you've offended and you see that picture, make a list and make it right with them. Because until you do, those pictures will haunt you. Those pictures, if you leave them hang, will drain you of your energy, take away your joy and your freedom. Take those pictures down off your wall. Take them down and make them right. And try to do it this week. And then come back and make your offer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, there are pictures we don't like looking at. Give us the courage. Give us the courage and the will to make those pictures go away by making things right with those that are in those pictures. Lord, we thank you for the way that the Holy Spirit will hold our hand as we go to make things right with each other. That those horizontal relationships will be redeemed. And as we gain redemption in the horizontal, Lord, it allows us to be even cleaner with you when we focus on the vertical part of our relationship with you. So Almighty God, give us courage and strength to be the forgiving servants that you have created us to be. Amen. Our final hymn is number 593. Here I am.